Hey, from Studio A in Texas, USA, it's hour number 2 of the All Things Automotive Car Talk Show in Wheel Time. Just ahead, we continue our Dodge Mopar show with a look at the history and a chat with the Houston Mopar Connection Car Club. In our new car showroom this hour is the 2020 Alpha Romeo Stelvio. We'll take you for a ride. And later, our Ram Tracks feature, along with the stories making automotive news headlines this week. Just ahead on the In Wheel Time Car Show. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars and King Conrad DeLong, Don Armstrong here. So glad that you could join us. Yeah, it's a Mopar Dodge Day on this rainy Hurricane Hannah Day here in Houston, Texas. And
didn't you date somebody named Hurricane Hannah?
No, that was Jerry Reed. Yeah, Down in the Swamp. Remember that song?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's funny because when Mars said, well, we're going to do a crew talk, talk about history and a little bit about Dodge and Mopar, we all gathered information, not knowing that the other one did, because I know how this works. And it would be my luck that I would come unprepared and we would have nothing. So I prepared.
Because there was no heads up that we were going to do this. It was just
it was a head up yesterday.
But not everybody reads the email apparently.
Yeah, no.
Well, this
or the
time
lack
we did.
thereof. That's how that works.
So what we're talking about?
We're not talking about it yet, but we're going to.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
So if you did not know, I mean, Dodge, we've been talking about the performance aspects, and they made a lot of commercials on TV. You've probably seen them, the Dodge brothers and everything. There really was two brothers that actually started the Dodge. They were. And, Dodge was established in 1914, but the two brothers, John and Horace, they were machinists. Their father was a machinist, their grandfather. So they came from this background. They started several companies, and looking at the history, it's really interesting to see how they intermingled with Ford. They were the ones that actually, their supply chain is actually what got Ford started.
Right. They actually produced the chassis for the original Ford Model A to Ford, and all he did was threw a body on it.
Put a body on it, and it evolved into the Model C and the Model F. And then later on, they had a bicycle business, and that's really kind of what got them to where they could get into the car business from a money perspective. And I found it really interesting that in their intermingling, the numbers fascinate me, that here they are in 1920 working with Ford, and Ford owes them some money. So what's he do? He gives them 10% of his company. And they turn around and sell that a couple of years later for $25 million. This is in 1919.
And that doesn't count all of the dividends they had received prior to that. So that from that 10% they got, it ended up being like a total of $39 million.
Yeah, it was a monstrous number back then, because that's big numbers even now. But that's really where they got the funds to go off and create their own vehicles. And unfortunately, though, as we were talking earlier, they went to the New York Auto Show. Big deal back then. It's a big deal now, but I mean, it was a really big deal back then.
It's not a big deal now because they canceled it.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Well, they canceled it because of a pandemic.
Go ahead.
I wonder what happened.
So in 1920, they went there, and they both got the flu. Now, unfortunately, one of them...
The Spanish flu, which was 100 years ago.
Which is the one that really wiped out everybody else, yeah. So it was really interesting, and one of them, actually, John, the oldest, died pretty quick. And then Horace was so sick he couldn't even go to the funeral. But he died less than 7 months later. He kind of never really got over the flu and the depression of losing his brother and everything. So, and they were both in their early 50s. And I just thought it was kind of fascinating the way the world, because then you start talking about how Chrysler and Oldsmobile and how they start supplying parts to both these other companies to help them get started.
Right.
So these guys were really a significant force in the automotive industry in the early days.
In launching the automotive industry,
yes.
yeah.
And you don't ever hear about that.
And by the way, as of July 16th of this year, Dodge's parent company, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, began merging, and thus its parent company being renamed Stellantis.
Yeah, spell that.
Okay.
Kind of like the Lyric and the other thing that Cadillac, whatever.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to talk about Mopar.
Yeah,
and Mopar was always a mystery to me. I never understood, where did the word Mopar come from? And I found out that it was actually first used in the 20s, and it was introduced as a brand starting in 1937. The name Mopar created by a committee to use on cans of Chrysler Motor Parts antifreeze, thus the name
Mopar.
Chrysler Mopar. Term thus become an inclusive word for any Chrysler-built vehicle. Most any Dodge, Chrysler, Plymouth, Imperial, DeSoto, and Dodge trucks or Ram. Now, by extension, it also is used for Jeep and AMC vehicles built after Chrysler's 1987 buyout of American Motors Corporation, including the short-lived Eagle brand. There was one that I had.
I forgot
that
about
was because Chrysler had absorbed AMC.
Right.
And Eagle was I think of it as condensed milk, but it was actually a car.
Yeah, it was. I'll never forget going to the Houston Auto Show, and it was in the Astro Hall, and seeing it for the first time, and the stunning paint job on the car.
Well,
it was all done by robots, which they didn't do. It was like one of the first robotic painted cars, and it's like, holy cow! Look at the paint job on that car, for what that's worth.
And it did so well, they're not around anymore.
So, well, here's the interesting thing, too. Mopar does not have a dedicated assembly line. There are 13 Mopar custom shops that install customer-chosen accessories on their vehicles before delivery. There are also limited edition Mopar versions of FCA vehicles. We've had some.
Right.
They are marketed featuring custom paint, and equipped with numerous Mopar performance and cosmetic performance modifications. And so when you think of Mopar, the first thing that comes to my mind is blue stripes on a white car.
Yes.
Or something blue about it. And so you can buy Jeep Mopar editions. Same thing with Dodge. I don't know about Chrysler so much. You know, Chrysler only's got one vehicle left.
Yeah, 300, I think.
What's going to happen to Chrysler?
Good question. Don't really know.
Because, you know, we thought for a while that the Lincoln Motor Company would go away because they had nothing. They sold nothing. The dealerships were folding right and left.
And now it's all SUVs and CUVs because the Lincoln Continental is a thing of the past as well. That's been canceled.
But Mike and I have driven the new Lincolns, the SUVs, and wow, are they nice.
Yeah, it's almost like, and I would think the same thing maybe here with Chrysler. It's a branding thing, you know. It's a heritage thing. They really don't want to get rid of the Chrysler nameplate, and I think they're going to figure out a way to keep it.
Right, because it's kind of the halo nameplate for the American brands under that
Yeah, I mean, it goes all the way back to Walter Chrysler.
Wonder what they're going to do with
it. I don't know. I mean,
are they going to go after the Cadillac brand and go all electric and give it an all electric new moniker, if you will?
I haven't read anything about that.
I have not read a thing.
But that would make sense because Chrysler was always their Imperial was, but Chrysler
kind of
was always their upper level platforms that they sold. You know, and you got to think, if you go back in time, let's go back to 1973 and the oil crisis and how that helped Chrysler, and bringing Lee Iacocca over from Ford helped Chrysler develop the K car, and then from the K car came the Dodge Caravan. And ultimately, the Dodge Caravan truly saved Chrysler's bacon into the 80s.
As a corporation.
Yeah, because it brought in a platform nobody else was doing, and it lit the market on fire.
So here's something to think about. So with the name change of the parent company going to Stellaris,
does that get Chrysler?
Well, there won't be an FCA because FCA is Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. There goes the Chrysler brand in America. Now, they say that they're going to continue all the monikers underneath the umbrella of FCA, which includes all of those in Europe and all of those here in the United States. But is it going to include Chrysler? Now, I would imagine that the Chrysler 300 goes down the same assembly line as the Dodge
Challenger,
those, yeah,
because I think they all come off the same platform.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one of the other things people don't recognize about the Dodge brand itself is how integrated Dodge was in our military. You know, back in World War I, Dodge developed their big trucks that were used as ambulances and troop transports and sold 18,000 of them to the U.S. military. In World War II, they kicked it up a bunch, and they actually built 400,000 Dodge trucks, from the big 6x6s, you know, and the ambulances that they sold. They also sold 8,000 touring cars and 6,000 commercial vehicles that went into our military. So they ended up supporting the U.S. military effort through World War I with some iconic vehicles. And I know John Hovis has one of those out there at the Hemi Hideout. That's a 999 point.
It's an incredible. I don't know. Was it a 19?
Power wagon.
I know it's a power wagon. Was it in the 40s?
I think it's a 47.
40,
yeah, something
if I
like
remember
that.
correct.
It
It's a
is
47.
absolutely beautiful.
But, how integrated Dodge was in our military, and that was because of the dependability of the vehicle that they had in the military. You had to have something you could climb in and move on, and if it needed repairs, it had to be relatively easy to fix.
Jeff
as well.
just put up a question mark. Did they make engines for the military? And yes, they did. As a matter of fact, I know that you have been or did go to the Chrysler Museum there on FCA property, and they displayed an engine. It was a tank engine. This thing was at least 6 feet tall, and it was actually fitted into a tank at one time. This thing was massive. It was almost as big as the studio here, and they had it on display in the museum. That's now turned into office space. But
it was a V12 hemispherical combustion chamber that fit into the M47 Patton tank, which was after World War II, but still. And that was where Chrysler and Dodge began to develop the Hemi engine, was coming out of the military, because they also played around with the P-47 Thunderbolt and built a V16 engine in that airplane, except it was upside down. The V was down, and it also had hemispherical combustion chambers, and that's where they brought that technology to the automotive field, because Dodge first introduced the Hemi, called the Red Ram, in 1953. So in 1953, the Hemi was very small. I think it was like 270 some odd cubic inches. And then over the years, it developed a larger cubic inches until in the late 50s, it was 392, which is why they go with a 392 today as their performance engine. And that 392 in that Dodge back in 1958, you could actually order it with a fuel injection system on it.
Well, I have to tell you that when I think of the Dodge brand, the first thing that comes to my mind is Don Garlett's.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, Swamp Rat. Because they were all fitted with Hemi engines.
Yep. 426s and up.
Yeah, and today's 500 cubic inch top fuel engine is basically based on
the Hemi.
The Hemi, and it's made by, well, it's all aluminum block, and all of the engines are basically the same now, but it still has the hemispherical heads and
same
based
basic
on that
design.
Same basic design.
And that Hemi we think of in the muscle car genre was only sold from 1966 through 1971. It was only sold for 5 or 6 years, but it made such an impact on the muscle cars, on NASCAR racing, on drag racing, on boat racing, because they use a lot of them in boats and stuff. But the Hemi goes back almost 15 years before that, back into the 50s as they developed it. And it took a little hiatus from 58 to 66 when it came back in production. And then it took another hiatus from 72 until it came back in production in 2003.
What was the guy's name that said,
"Got a Hemi in it"?
Remember
those
that?
commercials? Yeah,
What
that
was
thing got a Hemi in it.
Buford T. Justice?
No, but it's close. And so there's your research to do. What was the actor's name that did the sheriff? Yeah, I know you're going to
when he pulled the kid over driving the.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Got a Hemi in it.
Yeah, was it super big?
Right, and the guy had those great big glasses. Yeah. So the Mopar connection, if you remember correctly, there was an advertising campaign that it was the Mopar Dodge connection, the connection part of it. And I have to ask our bottom of the hour guest, is that where you got the name?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to think.
But that was back whenever we were kind of coming up in the late 60s, early 70s and stuff, whenever that Mopar connection, you could literally go to a Dodge dealer that was they handled the Mopar, and you could walk in there and you could buy camshafts. You could piece together an entire 426 Hemi, even though it wasn't offered from production. You couldn't buy one new, but you could buy all the pieces at the time to assemble one in your garage. I mean, it was great.
Needed a big garage because they call that the elephant motor.
Yeah.
Well, and then in 2012, Mopar came out with the Redline crate engine. So you could buy a fully functional 426 Hemi engine that was rated at 590 horsepower, showed up in a box, and you go figure out what to put it in. And it came with the full fuel injection system on it and a plug-and-play computer. So, Mopar has seen the value in delivering performance to the customers over the counter as well as through the dealerships as accessory items added to the vehicle.
Yeah. It's got a long, storied history, and all of it good. Okay. Hey, be sure and stay in touch with us all week long by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and through our website, inwheeltime.com. Each and every week, we invite you to join us for our live 2-hour show, 10 a.m. to noon Central. And we've got more of our show, the In Wheel Time Car Show, after this quick break.
As America gets back on the road, a lot of things have changed, but not the need for drivers to be safe. With that in mind, it's time to review our safe driving checklist. First, you're in your car.
Check.
You're sober.
Check.
You're wearing your seatbelt.
Check.
Your phone is put away.
Check.
Great. Make sure you follow the speed limit. And remember, law enforcement is enforcing traffic safety laws in our community to save lives. Paid for by NHTSA.
This is Houston's most in-depth car show, In Wheel Time, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts of the show available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcasts, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. I like that. Time now for our car review this hour. Mr. Mars has the Alpha Romeo Stelvio.
The TI Sport all-wheel drive Stelvio, to be exact. Now, this is, it's an Italian...
Did you say He said, what? He said an Italian. I think that's notable. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime. That's
He's
East
from
Texas.
Beaumont.
Yeah, that's right.
My God.
All right, so we're talking about what is technically a compact sport utility, but if you really look at this, it could be better designed or described as a small luxury SUV. And it has a lot of attributes. It shares a platform with the Giulia, particularly the Giulia Sport. You can get it in 4 trim levels. You can get the rear-wheel drive, the all-wheel drive, or you can get the TI all-wheel drive, which is what we had, or you can have the Quadrifoglio, or however you say it.
That's Quadrifoglio or Foglio.
Yeah, I always have trouble with that one.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at this vehicle up front, you're going to see that it's got this really dark V grille, and it's kind of small right there in the center of it. And in our vehicle, it was surrounded by an alpha white paint. And it really stood out a whole lot more than it normally does. So you get this black and white contrast going in there. We had the power folding side mirrors. We had black roof rails and black window trim that really stood out, again, on this white paint combination. And we had the power lift gate. We were rolling on the 20 by 8.5-inch wheels. Now, these had red calipers with white lettering on it. So, again, this black-white with the red trim on it just really made, to me,
It looked good.
It looked good. It was a nice, sporty look, particularly when you're talking about an SUV. Now, you get inside of it, you get into the seating. It's got the kind of sculpted seatings, and the leather's a little stiff. It's not real soft, pliable leather like you might see in a top-end luxury vehicle.
That's an Italian thing.
It is. It is. It really is. And they consider it the sport leather. And the front seats have got, they're power adjustable, but they also had the power adjustable bolsters. And I thought that was kind of cool because you could really kind of tighten it up, again, trying to get that driving experience.
Keep you in place.
Because of the platform.
Right.
Exactly. And so it has a lot of nice aluminum interior trim in it. We had the 7-inch TFT color display that used to be called a gauge package, but it is what it is now. We had the 8.8-inch touchscreen in the center stack. That's where we're going to find all the convenience controls, the audio, your rear view camera, things like that. We had the dual-pane sunroof, and it had a really cool 14-speaker Harman Kardon premium audio system in it that would really
jam the Jimmy Buffett.
It would jam it up and fill it up. But it's got that real nice sloping roof line to it because a lot of the new SUVs, the smaller ones, it's almost like they're going to a hatchback, but It's not really a hatchback. It's not really a fastback, but it to me it kind of reduces your line of sight, So it's a good thing you got plenty of technology to help you see what's over there on the other side of you. Now, under the hood, we had the 2.0-liter inline-4 turbo, 280 horsepower, 5,200 RPM. So you got to wind it up a little bit. But with the 8-speed automatic, it really wasn't a problem. You didn't feel any turbo lag. And with that transmission that FCA uses a lot of their vehicles, it was really a nice combination for driving. The city, the EPA says you should be looking for about 22, Highway 28, combined about 24. I got 23 in the 400 miles that I put on this vehicle. Now, it does, it is an SUV, but to me, it's the SUV for somebody that's seeking a driving experience, and I think that comes with the platform being there with the Julia Sport, because the way the suspension and the drive modes and stuff that you can set on it, it's not going to give you a sports car, but it is going to give you a feel of driving something. It's not just your mother-in-law's car.
And it's gorgeous.
It looks good, and by the time you put in the carbon fiber, and particularly I liked the black and white combination on the outside. It's just very striking. Now, if you're looking for something you want to look to compare it to, you might look at the BMW X3, which is going to start at around $41,950. Maybe the Mercedes-Benz GLC that starts at $42,500, or even the Acura RDX that starts down around $37,800. But you can get a base Stelvio, bottom line, for $41,400. Now, the base TI model that we were started with is $45,800. Had a couple of options on it.
Just a few.
Just a few. So the MSRP as tested was $59,745 for this vehicle. Had lots of nice options on it.
That Italian vehicle.
That Italian vehicle.
But the interior was stunning. It had the panache. When you looked at the inside of that vehicle, that said, that is a gorgeous interior. It really caught your attention with the style, with the shapes, with the color.
Well, and the color, it was that red. Again, you had a little bit of the red on the outside, but it was that red. It wasn't that, GM put a blood red or whatever you want to call it in a Corvette. And it was just, to me, it was just
I don't think
red
they called
everywhere.
it a blood red, but
well,
whatever
whatever.
the case
A darker
may be.
red. This
This
was
red really looked good,
And
though.
by the way, the Alfa Romeo grill is called a Scudetto.
Scudetto grill.
It's called a Scudetto, which means little shield.
Don has got all these new words today.
I know.
The names of the Cadillacs.
He's
the
over there
names of
Googling, because I don't
I've
remember
been
seeing,
going to school.
I don't remember seeing Scudetto. Scudetto? Scudetto.
Scudetto.
Italian.
Scudetto.
It's Italian.
Yeah. What he said.
You're listening to All Things Automotive here on the In Wheel Time Car Show. Up next, the events calendar and a rant on the Craftsman torque wrench.
Hang tight.
Stand by.
There's no greater pain a parent can suffer than losing a child. And yet, heat stroke deaths in hot cars are on the rise. The temperature inside a vehicle can reach deadly levels in just a few minutes. Leaving windows cracked does not help. These preventable deaths can occur even when the outside temperature is as low as 57 degrees. Never leave your baby or child in a vehicle, even for a short period, and always check the back seat before you get out of the car. Where's baby? Look before you lock. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Social distancing slows the spread of coronavirus, so we should all stay home to lower the risk for everyone. More info at coronavirus.gov. Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
I like this.
Do you?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a little xylophone thing, I think, going on there from the old band days.
Herbie Hancockish.
Kind of, yeah. It is nice. Everybody's staying in. It's raining, so go ahead.
Well, and while it's raining, that's going to have a bit of an effect on the events calendar.
You think?
as well. Yeah.
Please be my guest.
So this is an off weekend for Nifty 50s. They come back next weekend. Tice Motorsports is supposed to have their Twilight show up off of Kirkton tonight at 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Check with them to see whether or not that's going to go. Galveston Cherry Hill Cruise was supposed to go today, meeting at Buc-ee's and Katy at 4.
Why are we even doing this? That ain't happening.
Well, they might take the cruise. I don't think it would be wise, but they might.
The wipers don't work.
But if you go further east, Nederland is going to have a truck and car show today, sponsored by the C10 Soul Group at 5 p.m.
Well, boats are welcome.
And then also the monthly cruise in Santa Fe and the Kima Car Meet. Whether all those go on, depending on the weather, they probably won't. Tomorrow, HPD and Troy Dixon are going to have their Twin Peaks meet at in the Woodlands. Starts at 11 and goes till 3. The 8th annual Lone Star Deluxe Hot Rod Show and Music Festival in downtown Texas City at the Showboat Pavilion.
Oh, hot diggity dog.
Wednesday, Freddy's on Katy Road. Katy in Fry Road. And Friday is going to be...
You're not leaving me enough time to do my rant.
Never mind. Go ahead. You're on. I'm done.
Okay. So...
Rant on.
Here is the subject involved in today's rant. It's called a torque wrench with a 1/2-inch drive. This torque wrench was purchased approximately 20 to 30 years ago by me for a healthy sum of money from the Sears store.
Craftsman.
Located in the west, the shop, the mall that's not there anymore, West Oaks. Is it West Oaks? No, it was the mall there at Bissonnette and 59. Anyway, it was the Sears store. So I purchased it there, proud owner, used it, I don't know, maybe a dozen times, basically torquing down lug nuts on
Doing
aluminum
the right
wheels.
thing.
Doing the right thing. So as you can see here, it no longer locks in, either going forward or reverse, right, that you would expect it to do, right? So it's broken. It doesn't work anymore. So there's a model number that's here, and the actual serial number is located here. So I call a toll-free number to get a case number, okay? Clearly, Sears is out of business, so some other...
But Craftsman were sold.
A company called Transform Co. is now handling warranty claims.
Or
now,
denying
this was, you've got to let me talk. So this was a lifetime warranty. No, apparently it's not. So I contact Transform Co. They give me a case number 681-8080, and they say, take a picture. Okay? So I take, as you can see here, I take 3 pictures of the serial number, the model number, and the whole thing. And they say, okay, great, thank you so much. Thank you for contacting Sears. We need preferred email, give them that, the model number. Here's the response. Thank you for contacting Sears. Thank you for sending us the pictures and for allowing us the opportunity to assist you with your recent experience. This woman probably weighs about, 300 pounds, and she's 60 years old. And she has been doing this job for at least 50 years and is a former Sears employee down there at West Oaks Mall. I got this vision in my head with a bun back here. Like the woman that you always used to get sent to in high school. Remember that when you got in trouble and she would, chew you out? Unfortunately, we're unable to process your request at this time. Please accept our sincerest apologies for the delay. Please see below for the reason for the delay. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us at the number below or email. Reason for processing delay, more information needed. Information needed, a clear copy of your purchase receipt. Do you save 25-year-old receipts? Do you?
Nope.
Do you? I don't. I have no receipt. It's a lifetime warranty. Here's the receipt. Here's what I bought. It's been in that toolbox all these years. It doesn't work. Give me another wrench.
And the thing with Craftsman were you could go into any Sears store, hand them the broken one, they'd hand you a brand new one, and off you'd go. Well, with Sears out of business, they've changed the process.
Torque wrenches. For 1 year from the date of sale, the product is warranted against defects in material or workmanship. Certain exclusions. The warranty applies for only 90 days from the date of sale of this product is ever used while providing commercial services or if rented to another person. What? So if you got a problem with it, send us. I sent them an ugly email because I know what's going to happen. Sorry, we're not going to give it to you. But I did find out that if you do get a refund, because you don't mail this back anymore. If you do get a refund, they give it to you in a gift card. Really?
To buy more of their product at the original purchase price of that.
Yeah.
Of that torque wrench.
25 years ago. So you know what I got to say to you, Sears? Up yours. Don't buy Sears Craftsman. Thank you for playing the game.
Can anybody buy Sears Craftsman?
Yes, they still sell Craftsman products.
If you don't buy it, if you buy anything, buy Chinese, but don't buy Craftsman. Well, you're buying Chinese, so never mind.
Send your comments to info@inwheeltime.com.
Charles Williams with the Houston Mopar Connection Club is next on the In Wheel Time Car Show.
Do you know